It had been about a week since 3 citizens of a very distant kingdom of pieces crash-landed on an unknown world. They knew it had been a week, since the world's days were the same length as on pieces as far as they could tell. And that wasn't the only similarity. An ancient language on pieces, one bastion, was still in use in the new world, and the flora and fauna bore close resemblance to the crops and animals that Farmer Boy had been bringing to market his whole life. A week of pondering wasn't enough to suss out the connection, but as we've already covered, it did bring about the decision to make something of the mystery. The crew got to work turning their terrace of shaky huts into a proper homestead, tucked into the coves in the side of the shady blue mesa overlooking the scene. Boy was busy churning up mud and breaking open cuboidal seed boxes packed with boring old rice and taters. Lady was hammering together fresh walls to mark out larders, a kitchen, and a spacious living hall. Staves agreed with them that the work would go faster if he helped. He was an educated wonk after all, so he knew about division of labour, but he still couldn't get the darned chrome metal eggs from the colony kit to open, whether it was by sledgehammer, burning quill, or seductive whispering. His mouth, that Boy and Lady had to unwillingly feed, was the key to their survival, according to their scheming Aunt Missy. He spoke this one bastion tongue, so any run-ins with the supposedly numerous locals would depend entirely on him. Not wanting the orphaned siblings to be short-changed, someone showed up to test this system out after their first evening of serious work. Boy saw them well in advance, hiking with swaying gait from downriver. "Wonk, come on," he said to Staves as he pulled him out of the egg shed. Staves grunted and broke free, running into his hut. "Stop bloody hiding! World's feeding you, isn't it? It's the outside of the castle that really matters, not the—" Oh. Boy stopped as Staves re-emerged, holding the rifle up like a banner pole. "Might kill them," he remarked. "Don't kill 'em, just tell 'em how it is. Actually, no, you just translate what I say, alright?" Boy said, now trotting to keep up with Staves as he rushed to meet the traveller. The traveller was a stone's throw away now. It was a teenage girl, perhaps only a little younger than Lady, barely dressed in animal skins, barefooted, and carrying no luggage but a metal-edged knife. "Bloody bits, who's this feral child?" Boy said, holding Staves still with an arm. Staves started calling out in a soft language packed with L sounds, drawing no reply from the steadily approaching girl. "What did you say?" Boy asked. "Just translated what you said," Staves said. "No, how'd you keep a castle with— Look, tell her to stop!" Staves said a few more unknown syllables. The girl stretched her arms out, lowered her stance, and swept her knife through the air, shouting out "Cote" or a noise to that effect. "I think she'll kill us," Staves concluded, coolly kicking the rifle up to face forwards and pulling the firing lever. The shot flew off to places unknown. "Mad wonk, tell her to stop!" Boy shouted. "Telling her," Staves nodded, shaking the bolt action of the rifle around in the ceremony he had previously determined caused the thunder stuff to be rejuvenated. The girl was stamping through the ankle-deep flank of the riverside, rounding some rocks to get a clear path forwards. The next bang cut her leg, and she almost buckled. "What did it do?" Boy asked. Staves said nothing, quickly performing the ceremony again. The girl screamed out, repeated that noise from before, and ran with knife overhead right towards Staves. Staves coldly pointed the rifle at her as her feet started sinking into the soft dirt Boy had been planting in earlier. Staves fired, blasting that mud into the air. "Don't shoot my crops!" Boy cried. "I think she's gonna kill me," Staves said, dropping the rifle with a shiver. "Cote!" the girl shrieked, lunging through shifting rows of soil. "I think she's gonna kill my taters," Boy said, pointing his dagger forward with both hands like a knight's longsword. As the girl kicked her way out of the field and up to Staves, Boy tackled her from the side, rolled over her on the ground, then quickly plunged the dagger into her chest. Her knife, now clearly stained with dry blood, fell to the ground. "Ask her who she is," Boy growled to Staves. "She's dead." Boy. "Can't you tell?" Staves said, his composure rushing back as quickly as it had abandoned him. "What?" The dagger was right through the heart. Boy sighed and stood up, wiping himself down. "What from the pits was all that about then?" he said, angry. "She was gonna kill me," Staves nodded. "Why's that then, wonk?" "Dunno. You were supposed to talk to her." "I did." "With your mouth, not your thunder thing." "She didn't answer to either." "Yeah, well now we've killed Bits knows who, and that's not gonna be the end of it, is it?" "Dunno." "That's right, you dunno. What was she screaming, then? Sounded like something." "Dunno." "You speak wonky talk, don't you?" "It weren't one bastion, but I don't know all of it." "Aren't you the least bit bothered here?" Boy said, moving closer to Staves, who was indeed extremely calm. "Not anymore," Staves said. "But you're a little dirty, so I'll leave you be." "My bloody crops," Boy said to himself, reminded of the high-order crime the attacker's feet had committed. By the time he was done rearranging his rows of soil mounds, Staves was long gone. "What was that?" Lady asked him inside the skeleton living hall. "Local with a knife tried to kill me," Staves reported. "Sweet Hollows, are you okay?" "Fine." "Boy killed her." "Boy? Okay." "He stabbed her." "Staves, don't mention it, alright?" "Thought you wanted to know." "Please, no, I don't like it. Let's just leave it at that." "Shouldn't leave the body out there." "Staves, stop it!" Lady shouted, tears forming in her eyes. As you might have guessed, Lady was not at all wont to hear of violence. Not that she wasn't accustomed to it. In fact, it was the opposite problem. Staves, on the other hand, thought nothing of it at all. This, then, was the latest way in which he was of use to them, for his murder in the fields was no freak incident. As well as the more sophisticated tool bench colonists that Missy had gone off with, there were plenty of other communities making their mark all across the mountain chains and temperate plains for many a horizon distant, and they'd noticed the drop pods stream down from the sky too. The next evening, Boy felt his stomach drop as a band 8 strong came along the mountainside, dressed in animal skins adorned with roughly cut metal plates. Staves was immediately on the perimeter with rifle in hand, but when he held it up to show his weapon, the group all held up their hands too, waving. They made their way to the river to refill containers, then walked off south, following the river down the shallow hill towards a hidden pass in the mountain chain. They were too distant to see by then, but they were travelling by fire torches in the night, and the flickering dots disappeared into the mesas long after midnight. Only then did Staves stand down. Lady was woken by the sound of him traipsing to bed. "Stave, what happened?" she asked groggily from her door. "They didn't kill any of us this time. I think we've made good progress," Staves concluded, heading abed with a rifle and a smile. Well, he was right about the not killing part at least, but there's a lot more to the New World story here, and it'll come knocking soon enough. In the meantime, there was a big problem with this emergency colonization venture. They'd slapped together a nice living space and laid out all the kitchen equipment, known and unknown, but it was all just decoration with nothing to cook. And a lovely living space was a cruel irony with nothing to eat. Yes, the sweet mush from the cosmos had run its course, digestively speaking, and with the rest of the colony kit's supplies jettisoned to lands unknown across the planet, the crew needed to urgently work out what these wild locals were eating. "Gonna be a good month until the first harvest, by the smell of the soil," Boy reported at a colony meeting in the hall. "And we've got enough boxes left to last until this afternoon," Lady said. Staves shook his head, folding another wrapper into the collection in his bulging chest pocket. "Well, we got the dog," Boy said. Cannibal was sat at Staves' side, and upon hearing the word dog, eagerly trotted round the table and stuck her tongue out at Boy. "Don't taste that good though," Boy carried on, averting his gaze. "We have to go out and find something. Foraging. Maybe even, Lady said, trailing off. Yeah, we gotta find us a wild pig. Wonk, you're pretty handy with the thunderbow, ain't ya? I can pull the lever, he nodded. Think you can catch us anything? Oh yeah, sure. Really? It means working, you know. You think I'm adverse to working? Yeah. You've been lying on your arse a good week, ain't ya? Been working on stuff. Like those bloomin' eggs? And the thunderbolt lever. Right. Well, this time you gotta bring home the bacon. Take your mutt. I'll see what's edible in the forest. Lady, you can get the last of the gear up to the storeroom. Are you in charge? What? You're giving everyone orders. Well, feel free to disagree, mighty wonk. No, I'll do it. Don't tell Lady what to do, though, Staves said, standing and summoning Cannibal with a snap of his fingers. I wasn't telling her, just putting ideas out, wasn't I? Boy protested, looking to Lady. She took her eyes off Staves, then shrugged unconvincingly. Bloody bits, it's a fat keg in here. Need a walk and all. So everyone did their bit for the survival of the colony and returned to the table that evening with their progress reports. Boy placed a large plastic box on the table. Inside, long, oily leaves divided different piles of seeds and berries from the mountainside's sparse woods, all guaranteed to be edible by the infallible Boy smell test. Really, it's all just the same junk as pieces. Sure as this is a chokeberry, there's a hillocat in these lands, he said, popping a shiny purple berry in his mouth. Cannibal stared up at him, sitting neatly at his feet. Not safe for dogs, but we got the old classic here, blackberries. Boy threw a handful across the room and Cannibal sped off. You didn't find anything then, Wonk? Lady asked. I saw a few things, he said, not looking up from the table. That's no good, we'll be growling hungry by morning, Boy said. I was trusting you to get something, Wonk. I did get something, Staves said. With theatrical flair he removed his hat, revealing that his hair had been flattened and thoroughly soiled by a pair of tortoises. As you might guess, they were very small, such that one's hat is more than enough to carry them. What are those? Lady asked. Slow shells. Can't eat them, but they're quite funny. Funny? We're going to die, Staves, that ain't funny! What about the other one? Other what? The other person, the one Boy killed. He was referring to the teenager from earlier, whose body Boy had dragged off his fields and left in a cave further along the mountain. She's no help to us now, Wonk. Were you thinking of roasting her up for breakfast? Boy smirked. If you don't mind, Staves nodded. By the bits, you're a shattering pitbug for real, and I don't care if Sis loves you. You got until morning to think up something in your big ass head, or we're eating your stupid shell lizards for breakfast. They aren't edible, Staves insisted, reaching to pick them back up, but Boy was quick to put them under his own hat, a spongy helmet from the colony kit that complemented his bowl cut perfectly by hiding it entirely. Fortunately for everyone, especially the poor tortoises, the next morning brought a chance to buy their way out of trouble. A group of scrappily dressed locals came up the mountain with large, white-furred pack animals. Once Boy convinced Staves to first not shoot them, then to come back out of his room, the pair approached the caravan. Just greet them nicely, Boy muttered. Staves said a word that sounded a bit like the Hillo from Hillocat. The group were smiling, some waving, but didn't say anything. Staves went on to say a few sentences more in one bastion, during which the group seemed to push a pink-haired woman to the front. She spoke to Staves, but keep in mind that the following conversation was unintelligible to any but the two of them. Thanks for not killing us then. We're selling if you're buying, the woman said. Food, please, Staves nodded, hands on his stomach. Didn't you bring any with you, huh? Rumor is you fell down from the sky. Yeah, we did. So what is it? Are more colony ships coming? It was just us, I think. Where's your ship? Where's the rest? Legend said there'd be loads of you. Broke in the cosmos. It's us now. Oh, my apologies. You must be looking for Era for Tet then, if you speak Arif English. Maybe. Didn't they tell you where to go? I think it's all just a bit of an accident. I don't really know where we are, or who you are. I'm just hungry. The woman sighed at this. I had to pull strings to get on this caravan and you're brain dead. I thought there was gonna be help. Are you looking for the Hillocat? What? Hillocat? How long were you in stasis up there? In stasis? No, we were in Tindra, the Holy Kingdom. You don't even know. Man, you're the unluckiest bunch I've ever seen, and I'm me! You don't even know what's going on here, do you? Might do after the food. Yeah, stop your old-fashioned talking and I'll tell you about the mess you're in. Mess you're making too, huh? What this pink-haired woman explained to Staves, which Staves later relayed to Boy and Lady, and then to Attentive Cannibal, was a rundown of what was going on. Probably handy for you to have some notes here as well, so let's summarize the main points. The world, which she called Reticot, had been colonized by cosmic people twice over the last 2,000 years. She was a descendant from the latter group, whereas her travelling party were all from the former. The distinction was that the first wave had been a disaster in which all semblance of civilization was torn down after a couple of generations. Everything had run out pronto, and everyone was back to basics, creating the three tribes of Reticot, the Boka, the Zospa, and the Tranka. The caravan was from the Boka, but she was actually from a mouthful of a place called Eraphonavelium. This was one of the two latter wave societies that still clung on to cosmic ways, along with Tetius, which had a reputation for civilization like nowhere else. As you might imagine, the second wavers and first wavers weren't on very good terms, and the Zospa and Tranka were in full-on war with the more advanced but less numerous Tets and Eraphs. The Boka constituted a kind of neutral go-between, selling to both sides and all that. This local political strife was the reason behind the wild attack of the feral teen previously, and it came with the warning that once the warring tribes sniffed out the colony, it was going to be on the chopping block. How long was that going to take? Probably not that long, as literally during the conversation, a naked man with a wooden club emerged from the undergrowth and shouted that word, Kote. The Boka tribespeople seemed rather disturbed by this, and hurriedly conferred with each other. Is he going to kill us? Staves asked the pink-haired woman. Yeah, it's a religious thing I haven't quite got to yet. Kare means something like important rolling, or he's not a Baka though. Trouble. It was trouble. The man charged into the colony with his club at the ready. The Boka unshouldered short bows and shot off some arrows. A couple hit the target, but he kept coming. I'll do it, Staves offered calmly, swinging up his rifle. A rifle, the woman remarked. Called a thunderbow, I think, Staves claimed. He fired it twice, now very quick on the reload ceremony, but the bullets clacked into the woods down the hill. I'll do it, the woman insisted, snatching the rifle and throwing it like a javelin. The target was being surrounded by the Boka, and didn't notice the weapon swooping down. The butt bonked him squarely in the face and sent him reeling. The rifle reeled the other way for a split second, but the impact had jolted the firing pin, so it thundered and was rocketed back in the attacker's face by the force of the recoil. The nude clubman was knocked out cold. While the Boka caravanners seemed to recognize this, it didn't stop Boy carrying on the long charge he had been making across the colony. His racing and roar gave out by the time he reached the target, but the Boka people murmured approval and grinned at him. The matter was then sidelined so that Staves could actually use the caravan's services. They were laden with food, and the colony kit was awash with little nubs of purified silver, which the Boka were more than willing to take as currency. That's the whole buying their way out of trouble thing I mentioned earlier. But it still left the matter of the not actually dead Tranka tribe warrior lying at the colony entrance. That's your problem, the pink-haired lady informed Staves. If he's not dead, then there's no problem, Staves reasoned. I bet he'll agree when he wakes up. Good luck with that. Are you going now? Yep. We'll be back next year, maybe 60 days from now. You know about the years, right? Same as Tindra. What? Oh, your home place. Whatever. Just try to get yourself in with the Tets. They might help you. Got the hands full though, so... Just keep your head straight, okay? See ya. Wait, can I ask you an important question? Go on then. How come you're in the tribe if you're from the cosmic people? Money, she sighed. You'll see how it is. Goes the other way too sometimes. Oh, right. Were you a slave? Kinda. Don't want to talk about it, alright? I understand. There's a girl who might love me who had something like that, but I'm not allowed to ask about it. Hey, big boy, if she loves you, she'll tell you the truth, won't she? Oh, you mean... I understand. Do you? I dunno. Worry about the crops for now, huh? Or you'll be in chains next time Tranka come, or dead. As the caravan made their way off, boy and lady came up to get the story from Staves. Being a tactful fellow, he left out his suspicions that lady wasn't in love with him this time, but fully intended to discuss it with boy later. In the meantime, they had a bruised brute lying in the grass to deal with. This begins a winding tale of eating, meeting and greeting with the full scope of the new world of Reticot coming into view. So let's get to that next.